There's nothing worse than locking up a vending location and then putting your machine in and finding out it doesn't make money. In today's video, I'm gonna be breaking down how to find the best locations for your vending machines so that you're always making money. The most important part of any vending business is the location that it's in. So if you're locking up a location just to say that you got a location, trust me, that is not the move. You wanna find locations with the highest amount of foot traffic so that you have the maximum amount of people walking by your machine every single day. The first thing that you want to do is walk into businesses and see how many people are in that business at the time. How many employees do they have? How many people do they average per day in terms of customers? And make sure that it's at least 100. You want 100 people walking by your machine every single day. That is an incredible location. At the very minimum, you want at least 50 people per day walking by it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't invest in it. Now that you understand what foot traffic you want to target, start thinking about businesses nearby that might have that amount of people in there. Start thinking about bigger businesses, start thinking about laundromats, things that might have a lot of customers in there daily and maybe they're hanging around for a bit. Try to think of when you might have wanted a snack when you were, out shopping or something. When did you want to sit down and be like, hey, actually, this would be a great, I'm really craving some Cheetos right now. That's probably a potential location. So maybe you want to reach out to the store manager, maybe you want to reach out to the business and see if you can place machines there. The next is you want to think about where the location is within the location. So you want to think about where would I even put a vending machine in this business? If it's a freaking restaurant, do you really want to put a vending machine in a restaurant? No, you're competing with them. That doesn't make any sense. You want to find a laundromat that doesn't have any machines, maybe doesn't have a convenience store nearby or doesn't have a gas station. So then the people that are in the laundromat are more likely to buy from your machine and you can charge whatever price you want because you're not competing with anybody. So after you've done all that, now you want to start prospecting. Start finding those businesses and see if you can put a machine in them. So you can do this a couple different ways. The first and easiest is probably just to go to the contact us form and put in your information and see if they reach out. Not very active, but it is a way to get as many leads as possible. So that's definitely where I would start. Next would be to start making some cold calls. You just call into the business, ask to speak to the manager, the general manager, see if they're open to having a vending location in there. They might push back a little bit, might wonder what the value is to them. And there's a couple different values to them. For one, if it's a business, it keeps their employees on site and, so they're not leaving and going to breaks because a lot of the times that they don't come back on time. So that's one value. Two is it makes them more satisfied because they have access to easy snacks throughout their day. They can stock up on, drinks or whatever while they're there. Just kind of helps them improve their day, I guess. And then next for the customers, it's very similar. If somebody's craving a drink or a water or something, they have access to it because there's a machine there. So it's a convenience factor for a lot of people. When I had them in my laundromat, people loved them because they're sitting there for hours doing their laundry. They get hungry during that time. They want a snack. They go to my machine, grab some food, having a great day. Boom. It's a great business. All right, so out of the contact us form, email, and phone, you also can walk into the business. If you have a little brochure that you drop off for customers, maybe it just shows who you are, gives you a little bit of background, which I'll do exactly, and then shows the different machines, the different options that they have. I would walk into the business and ask to speak to the manager because that's going to be your best foot forward. That's going to be, showing you're a human, showing you're a real person, that you're in the area. That's going to be your best bet, and highly recommend to do that if y'all are comfortable doing that. You might face more rejection, you might face more failure, but it is definitely going to get you a location fastest. If you aren't walking into the business itself, the next thing that you want to do if you're on the phone or you're over email is you want to schedule some time to go visit the location. You want to talk to the person that is going to be responsible for this decision, and you want to talk to them in person. You want to check out the space to see if there is room for a vending machine and where exactly that would be. Because if it's way in the back, just in the break room, and there's only 5 employees there, you don't necessarily want that location. Actually, you definitely don't want that location. But if it's out in the front and they have 100 customers come in per day, that's where you want your location. You want to try to sway them that way and see and show them how it's valuable to them. Maybe you offer them a commission split where you give them 5%, 10% of the net profits in order to entice them to place your machine in a high traffic location. Once you visit the space, that's when you're going to close them. You're going to tell them, hey, what would it take for me to put a machine in here? They'll typically tell you, have them sign a contract. You don't necessarily need them to sign a contract, but I always like to do it because it feels more formal. It feels more like a commitment rather than if you didn't have a contract signed. And then You know, the contract, you want to make sure there's some certain terms that you have outlined in it. I'll leave a link in the description of what I typically put in a contract. Very, very simple. I don't make it complicated at all. I just want to be able to, you know, get a heads up that if they do want me to take my machines out, at least 30 days. And then also, I want to make sure that I'm the only vendor in there, so they're not putting somebody else's vending machine right next to mine, because that would be very unfortunate. And then next is I want to make sure that I can assign it to somebody else in case I did want to sell the location to somebody else. Because when you go to sell vending machines, the value is in the location. So people don't really just want a vending machine, because vending machines depreciate and they wear out, you know, they get used a lot. So they're gonna get beat up a bit. People want the location because that's where the value is in a vending location. So once you close the deal and somebody signs the contract, you can go ahead and get scheduled to install a machine. Obviously, you got to find where to buy a machine, and there's a couple different options. You can buy new from the manufacturer, like a Wittern, a Royal, a Vendo, a Dixie Narco, Crane, etc. You can buy directly from them and buy new machines, which is going to be your most expensive option, but you'll get the best machines and you'll get a nice warranty. You can buy refurbished from a local vending machine equipment provider, and you can look in your area and find some cheap ones. They also have a warranty, but it's a much shorter warranty than if you bought it new. And then last but not least is you can go on Facebook Marketplace and try to buy machines from them. That's the riskiest option, but it can also give you the best deals if you know what to look for. That's gonna be your three main options. For your first location, I might suggest going for a refurbished machine from a local equipment provider, because that's gonna give you a warranty, but also the cheapest options getting into it. And then you wanna schedule an install date, and yeah, go and stock up your location, get a Sam's Club membership, you know, try to buy products as cheap as you can. And then you don't want to stock up your machine entirely the first time. You just want to put in what you have to and see what sells, and then you can start filling up the machine all the way. There's a lot more things to do when you actually get the location, but to start off, those are going to be the main things that you want to do. Congratulations, so you just locked up your first vending machine location. Now you have a profitable route potentially if you set it up right. Now it's about fine tuning, finding the areas that you can improve on. Maybe you put a different product mix in there. Maybe you change the prices so that you're getting the most profit, and you know, you're not having expired product in there. You know, maybe there's some issues with the machines, some kinks that you need to work out, or maybe there's some time management things that you need to work on so that you're not spending so much time running the route. And then eventually you can hire an employee to run it for you. And if you set it up right, put good systems in place, it's a profitable venture that you don't even have to invest your time in anymore, because you have somebody running it for you. You're always gonna have to do the oversight and some of the more tedious work, like administrative work, but for the most part, it's a profitable business that you don't have to trade your time for anymore. If y'all have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Please leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to run through a video of what to do when you actually have a vending location secured and what to do to make it even more profitable. Happy to make a video like that. Just let me know if that's something you're interested in. But anyways, I will see you on the next video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.